Okay, let's start for the 4th of September, Saturday. Let's do part A, vocabulary and sentence construction. Number 1 is affection. Noun, feelings of warmth, care, love towards someone or something. Usually it's not used romantically, but it can be. An affectionate adjective with feelings of warmth or love towards someone or something. And affectionately, adverb in a way that shows affection. Now let's see some examples. Okay, affectionately yours is used at the end of a letter written to a lover or a very close friend or relative. With love or affectionately. Or affectionately yours. All three are the same, pretty much the same. Right, my brother is very affectionate towards our dog. So my brother likes our dog, takes a lot of care of our dog, has a lot of affection towards it. My aunt is very affectionate towards me. I'm her favorite nephew or niece, whatever. So she is very affectionate towards me. I share an affectionate bond with my sister. So the bond, the relationship between my sister and I is an affectionate one. And lastly, I don't have any affections for anyone. So sad for you. The sentence is correct. Alright, let's move on to number 2. Okay, number 2, entrepreneur. It's a French word. We did the origins the other day. Comes from French. Person who makes money by running his own business, especially some new type of venture, some new type of business. You could call it a businessman as well. Entrepreneur is a new term, a fancy way of saying businessman. But it's very popular now. It became popular, I think 10-15 years ago. It started becoming extremely popular because many of the businesses were new, like the software IT businesses. There were all new types of businesses, so instead of saying businessman, they said entrepreneur. Alright, and go under phrasal verb, bankrupt, shut down due to financial losses. That business has gone under. That's go under. That's a phrasal verb. Now let's look at some examples. Or what do you want examples? Oh, sorry, one example. Not all entrepreneurs will be successful. Most of them fail or will fail. Their companies go under. So their companies make losses and shut down. Most of the entrepreneurs, that's their story. Many times until they find success. So if you're looking to be an entrepreneur, get ready to have some failures along the way. Don't expect instant success. If you get it, it's good, but if you don't get it, don't lose heart. Right, number 3 is psychological. Adjective of the mind, related to the mind, the way a person thinks, his or her thoughts, related to that. Psychological. Psycho, noun. A really mad person, often very violent. So somebody's mad and violent, you call them a psycho. Psyche, or just psych sometimes. Some people just say psych. Psyche. The mind, the way the mind works. Deep thoughts in someone's mind. So what's in someone's mind is his or her psyche. Right, and driven, adjective, determined to succeed, working extremely hard to succeed. Somebody like that is called driven. Okay, let's see the examples. Jones played like a psycho in the 90s. So we did Jones, and with Jones, I won't put the first name, but you know, with Jones, so he played like a psycho in the 90s. Alright. Psychological disorders mean there's nothing wrong with your body, only your mind. But because the mind is not right, it will surely affect the body, especially in the long run. Number 3, my sister behaves like a psycho sometimes. Alright, sometimes driven people get labeled psychos. Sometimes can be followed by a comma or need not be followed by a comma. Depends on the context, depends how you're using it, what's the theme of your essay or your paragraph. All right, so both are correct. Sometimes driven people get labeled psychos. All right, let's move on to number 4. Aspect. Noun, a part of something, a feature of something. Not parts as in parts of a table. Now those will be spares, or parts of a motorcycle. Those are spare parts. Not that part. A part of something as in a feature of something. Aspect. And arrange is put in order. You know, arrange is not difficult at all. Put things in a particular order, plan and organize something. So all these 3 meanings. Arrange, verb, right. Examples of number 4. There are several aspects to running a business. Making profits is just one of them. So making profits is just one part of the business. There are many other parts of running a business successfully. There are many aspects to it. But there are different aspects of English. Listening is one of them. The accent is perhaps the least important, as long as you speak clearly and correctly. It doesn't have to be stylish. As long as you speak clear, straight, correctly, use good grammar. The accent is perhaps the least important of them all. Which goes to say that if you speak clearly and correctly and you use good grammar, you make your sentences well, you speak well, you obviously have a very good accent. No need to put any style into it. All right. Writing is the most important of them all. All right. So writing is the most important aspect of English and any other language for that matter. Right, life has many aspects. Work is one of the primary. So now you can see I've joined 2 sentences with a colon right there. Is it correct? Yeah, it's correct. Instead of starting a new sentence, I've shortened it, and I can't really put a comma over here. If I put a comma, the meaning is, well, it's a bit different. The grammar would be a bit incorrect. So colon makes it perfect. Or a semicolon rather, not a colon. That's a semicolon, not a colon. Alright, arrange all the boys in order of their height. And again, I've done the same. Put a semicolon here. Shortest to tallest. You can put a colon as well over here, or a semicolon. Both would work over here. Instead of saying arrange all the boys in order of their height and then starting a new sentence, I want them shortest to tallest to shortest, whatever, just put a colon or a semicolon. In this sentence, both would work perfectly. And the last sentence is, I prefer tallest to shortest. That way I can stand towards the end or at the end and no one can see me. Right, perfect sentence. Let's move on to number 5, bureaucracy. A system of rules that a government has or follows, an administration that involves a lot of paperwork. So, negative implication. Most governments today are bureaucracies. Most of them have a set of rules, a set of paperwork, but nowadays, or especially these days, bureaucracy is used for a government that has a lot of unnecessary paperwork. So it has a negative implication if you say, oh, that government or that administration is absolutely bureaucratic. That means they have so much paperwork that it's a waste of time. And that's how we go on to bureaucratic, adjective related to or connected to a bureaucracy. Bureaucrat, noun, a person who works in a government or administration, especially at a high post. Doesn't have to be, but especially at a high post. The person who is working in a bureaucracy who follows the rules extremely rigidly or very strictly. Again, that has a negative implication. He's a bureaucrat. There can be easy bureaucrats, but usually you use a bureaucrat as a person who follows the rules too strictly. Plague, noun, a disease spread by rats, and we did it that day. It's spread by bacteria. Plague, verb, cause a lot of pain or trouble to someone or something over a period of time. Plagued, adjective, informal. Alright, so informal, as you should know, it's not in the dictionaries. You can use it that way, but it's not in the dictionary, so don't use it in a test. If you're speaking in real life here, you can use it as an adjective. So struck by the plague, with a lot of problems, caused it should be by something. Just insert by something over there. Alright, excellent. Let's go on to hinder, verb, block or come in the way of someone or something, especially progress. So if you block somebody's progress or you try to stop it, anyone's or anything's progress, it's called hinder, verb. And paperwork, noun, official documents is paperwork. Your driver's license, your passports and all that stuff is paperwork. Okay, let's see some examples. Bureaucracy has plagued several countries and hindered their development. So we did that day. Which countries? You know which countries? Alright, so that country used to be very bureaucratic until the 1950s. Again, you know which country we're talking about. We did it the other day on 4th of September, right? Bureaucratic countries often have lots of meaningless and wasteful paperwork. So that's again a negative implication of bureaucratic. And Ireland is virtually bureaucracy free. We're talking about the Republic of Ireland here. It's doing very well and attracting businesses, and that's a fact because they have reduced unnecessary paperwork to a minimum. Right, let's go to number 6. Onomatopoeia or onomatopoeia. Usually it's called onomatopoeia. If you like onomatopoeia, that's also correct, it's not wrong. Words that have the same, almost the same sound to the sounds or noises that they describe. That's what they are. And that's the adjective. Is onomatopoeia. Let's do this one again. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeic. Connected to using onomatopoeia or onomatopoeia. Oh, sorry, onomatopoeia. That's right. All right. So wham, bang, boom are some examples of onomatopoeia. Crunch is another great example of onomatopoeia. And the gravel crunched as she walked. So we saw gravel that day. You know what gravel is. Alright, so that's for part A. Let's go on to part B. Pronunciation. So we did all these words a couple of weeks ago or the week before. So just see this video. All the words are pronounced there in different accents, different styles. Alright, let's go on to part C, writing. This is a very important part now. Let's see some sentences from today's notes and change their forms a bit to keep the same meaning. So we'll do 3 sentences that we've already done today. So number 1 is Ireland is virtually. What is virtually? Almost bureaucracy free. Ireland is virtually bureaucracy free, and the same sentence with the same word. So Ireland is virtually free of bureaucracy. Bureaucracy free. See the hyphen over there? There is a hyphen here. You join 2 words. Bureaucracy free. Ireland is virtually free of bureaucracy. Instead of saying free of bureaucracy, you can say bureaucracy free and put a hyphen there. Both sentences have exactly the same meaning. Both of them are absolutely correct. There's nothing wrong with either of the sentences. Alright, let's go on to number 2. There are several aspects to running a business. Making profits is just one of them. Alright, so there are several aspects to running a business, comma, making profits being just one. Or making profits being just one of them. So here you have one of them. But since you already said there are several aspects to running a business, there's not there's no real need to write off them again, but if you want to write it, you can write it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's absolutely correct. That's why I put it in brackets. If you choose to write off them, it's correct. If you choose not to write off them, that's also perfectly correct, because these two sentences have been joined by a comma in the correct way. So let's go on to the last one. There are different aspects of English. Listening is one of them. The accent is perhaps the least important, as long as you speak clearly and correctly. Writing is the most important of them all. Alright, so how do you rewrite this sentence? There are several aspects of English, listening being one of them, and then one more comma. The accent perhaps the least important, comma, writing most important of them all. Okay, that's all for today. So all these sentences have been joined with commas, and that's the way you rewrite some sentences. You change the form a bit, and as we go on, we'll see more complicated ways, more complex ways of changing sentences correctly. Alright, that's all for today. Thank you.